Who do you think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? You know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, nah.
Floyd Mayweather has just shaken up the entire boxing landscape. Instead of his usual talk about exhibition bouts, he dropped a bombshell in a recent interview. He's preparing for a real professional return to the ring. And the opponent he's aiming for? Terence "Bud" Crawford. Yes, take a moment to process that. Mayweather, the undefeated icon who dominated a whole era of boxing, wants to challenge the fighter many view as the top pound-for-pound talent of today. And now that Crawford has finally spoken on the matter, social media has completely erupted.
Will a win over Canelo put you ahead of Mayweather as the greatest boxer of this generation?
Listen, I leave the opinions to everybody else, but like I said, after this fight, when I defeat Canelo, I'm gonna be on Mount Rushmore. That's where I'm gonna be.
Let's unpack this for a moment. Mayweather isn't coming back because he needs the money. He's already set for several lifetimes. This move feels personal. For years, fans argued over a fantasy matchup between a prime Floyd Mayweather and a prime Terence Crawford. For the longest time, most people leaned toward Floyd. Crawford was elite, no doubt, but many thought he still fell short of Mayweather's level. That was before Bud shocked the entire world.
Thank you, GOAT, because you are the GOAT of this era. Terence "Bud" Crawford.
Everything changed when Crawford dismantled and dominated Canelo Alvarez. After that performance, the entire conversation shifted. Fans stopped talking about Crawford as just one of the top fighters of the moment. Many started calling him the standout boxer of his entire generation.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's.
And think about this. Canelo has shared the ring with both prime Mayweather and prime Crawford. His comparison opened the floodgates. Canelo publicly stated that Crawford performed better against him, and that single comment ignited the entire debate. Anyone who knows Floyd understands he's not the type to let someone else claim his spot without a fight. Hearing a fighter he once called easy work suggest that another man surpassed him? That's gasoline on an already burning fire. And that, more than anything, is what's pushing Floyd to come back.
You could take a guy like Canelo, this guy can do, he can pick and choose who he want to fight. And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Easy, man. Easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Easy. Y'all always disrespecting our fighters.
This isn't simply about stepping into the ring with Crawford. It's Floyd's way of reminding the world why he still considers himself the greatest to ever do it. Remember, Mayweather built his legacy on being untouchable, flawless defense, a perfect record, and a career defined by beating every challenger who stood across from him.
You know, I didn't have to have 70 fights or 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
Now people are calling Crawford the new Mayweather, or the modern standard of greatness, and Floyd isn't having that. A matchup between them wouldn't just be huge, it would be historic. It's the clash of eras, the former king who dominated the sport versus the current ruler at the top of the game.
Everyone is going to start making comparisons with your legacy to Floyd Mayweather. How do you feel you compare with Floyd with the resume you have now?
Listen, Floyd was the greatest in his era. I'm the greatest in my era. It ain't no need to compare me to Floyd or Floyd to me.
You talk the talk and you sure walk the walk. Your confidence and aura is on another level. Could we see a run as a light heavyweight?
Nah, we ain't going up that much.
Now,
So what was Crawford's response? He didn't hold back. He stood by everything he said before. He always puts his money on himself. Crawford acknowledged Mayweather's brilliance, especially his defensive mastery, even calling Floyd the best at neutralizing opponents. But ultimately, Crawford made his stance crystal clear. If Mayweather truly returns, he's ready, and he believes he can push Floyd harder than anyone ever has.
Yo, yeah, so if he was pound for pound, Floyd was pound for pound. You or Floyd, who would have done that? Who would have won that?
Me.
Oh, shit, okay, I'm just asking. Because Floyd was pound for pound before.
That would have been a hard fucking fight, though.
Man, me versus anybody, I'm gonna always say me.
Okay.
Come on now.
That kind of confidence isn't anything new. That self-belief is exactly what has always made Bud who he is. But the timing hits differently now, because this matchup is no longer just a fantasy debate. Mayweather is actually taking real steps toward a return.
you know, you said something about what fighters go through, and you've seen enough guys that the game is taken from. It's a hard game to get through. Can you get a better ending than tonight? I mean, really?
Not at all. Not at all. This is the top of the top. You know, Canelo is, you know, an all-time great. Like I said before, he's the last one.
He was the A side of the age.
There's no more Canelos, you know. There's no more. So, you know, when you look around, you say, I'm the Canelo, you know, I'm the face of boxing now, and I'm the best pound for pound fighter in the world, like I always been. You know, just gotta wait and see.
This is where the stakes get real. For Mayweather, there's very little risk. If he loses, people will shrug and say, he's almost 50 and long past his prime. Of course he lost. But if he wins, the boxing world would be turned upside down. Picture the headlines. Floyd Mayweather, the veteran, defeats Terence Crawford, the reigning pound-for-pound king. For Crawford, though, it's a different story. This fight is high risk, high reward. A victory would cement him as one of the greatest fighters of his generation. A loss, however, could be devastating. Imagine being considered the best in the world, only to fall to a retired, aging Mayweather. Critics wouldn't let him live it down. That's why this isn't just another high-profile match. It's a true battle for legacy.
Excited to see Bud perform the way he performed against Canelo. I think boxing needed that fight. I think Bud showed up in the way he was supposed to. I think Canelo did as well. And the respect between the two men is what boxing is supposed to be. I can't talk about all the eras of boxing because I haven't seen them all, you know, but I've seen Hagler Hearns. I've seen Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler. Like I've seen all those things, and those fights were wars. Floyd Mayweather is the best boxer I've ever seen. He's the most skilled boxer I've ever seen. Bud, and this is just my opinion, is the baddest man I've seen wear boxing gloves. And here's why I say that. Here's why I say that. Bud is extremely skilled, right? Yet not as skilled as Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather made people look foolish, right? And so if I had to say who's the greatest I've seen, and Bud said it right, the best of an era and the best of an era, it's Floyd. But when I watched Bud against Canelo, there was this extreme skill on display, and there was a level of crazy that's different. There was a level of, and Floyd's extremely tough. Go back to Shane Mosley and the 2 punches he landed early in the fight and the way that he embarrassed him. I'm not saying that Floyd's not tough, Floyd's not a bad man, but there was domination inside that ring we saw this weekend. And there's no fear in him in the way that he's attacked, gaining notoriety. Bud's been the baddest man for 12 years, but no one gave him credit because he didn't go tell you he was the baddest man. He didn't market that. He just went out and fought and beat people and knocked people out. So he had to move up and take the bigger fights and the better fights. And he was Errol Spence. We realized just how great he was. Canelo cemented him on what is the two-headed monster that marks the greatest of the 2000s. Floyd Mayweather is on that, and Bud Crawford is right next to him. I don't think we have to pick on who's better. I think they both dominated their eras equally.
From a stylistic perspective, this matchup is a dream. Mayweather has never relied on sheer explosiveness. His greatness comes from unmatched defense, sharp ring IQ, and the ability to make opponents miss while punishing even the slightest mistake. Crawford himself has acknowledged that Floyd's defense is truly one of a kind. But Crawford's edge lies in his versatility. He's not just strong in one area, he's exceptional across the board. He can switch stances mid-fight, adjust his style on the fly, and dismantle opponents whether they're brawlers, counterpunchers, or technical fighters.
Terence Crawford had the ability to fight backwards and stay composed. Good defense. Hands was always up, countering everything that Canelo was throwing at him. He was just a little more active fight. Canelo did hit him to the body, but it was pretty much all Terence Crawford.
I think some of what we saw from Canelo is what he's has to resort to now to fight. Maybe he's dealt with some injuries to where he's not as mobile. It's just the pattern that he's put himself in for the last, 6 to 8 fights. That same pattern is why Bivol was able to get him.
He did not allow Canelo to get inside, man. As soon as Canelo would get into that certain range, you would jab him. We didn't see any like lateral moves where he would throw, push off to the side, as we used to see Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo was almost smothering his shot because he couldn't stay at range with him. And Terence Crawford runs off counter combinations. It would be a wider margin if they fought.
Before Mayweather even thinks about taking on Crawford, there's another matchup in the works, a potential showdown with Iron Mike Tyson. Yes, you read that right. Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson. On paper, it seems wild. Tyson is older, heavier, and packs devastating knockout power. But this isn't really about who's the better fighter, it's about spectacle.
Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather is happening. What the f is going on? This is where boxing is in 2025. And listen, I'm not going to complain because I understand the layout of things. We already had Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. We have Jake Paul, Gervonta Tank Davis. This feels like the Temu version of it. And that sounds crazy because we have two of the greatest of all time about to participate in this, but both of them are about 30 years past their sell-by date in an exhibition bout in which their weights will be 60 to 70 to 80 pounds different. If you got on board with Jake and Mike, it was because at least they were going to weigh the same. I don't even know what to think. Someone on Twitter said it perfectly. Either everybody in the world is going to want to watch this or 10,000 people will watch it. Probably both men want a shit ton of money and they're being promised a shit ton of money, but it's happening.
Let's be real for a moment. Mayweather has the edge in energy, conditioning, and ring IQ. On paper, he should come out on top. But there's a huge caveat. If Tyson lands even a single clean punch, it could change everything. And if Mayweather were to lose to Tyson, who, mind you, is 6 years his senior, then any talk of facing Crawford goes out the window.
I think I would really kick Floyd's ass in the street fight. Wouldn't even be no match, but probably if I was his size in the ring, he would outpoint me, yeah. He has a really good technique for his style. Yeah, he's really great.
In that sense, the Tyson fight acts as a gateway. Mayweather has to navigate it successfully if he truly wants a shot at Crawford. And if a Mayweather versus Crawford matchup comes to fruition, it could go down as one of the biggest fights in boxing history. Why? Because it's more than just two elite fighters stepping into the ring. This fight would settle the ultimate debate. Who's better?
Like Floyd's career, like him coming up in the era that he came up in, he had all them champions that he was able to fight, and that's what led him to be so great. You know, because he fought the most champions, beat the most champions. You know, got the most money for beating the most champions. So it's just like, man, he had this guy, back to back to fight, one after one.
Fans are already split. Some think Mayweather is past his prime, while others argue that his style has aged like fine wine. Defense and ring intelligence don't decline with age. One thing is certain, If this fight gets signed, it will break every record in the sport.
It's wild, because like if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. That makes a difference to people.
At the end of the day, this is all about Floyd reminding the world why his name still carries weight. He has nothing to lose. If he succeeds, his status as one of the greatest of all time becomes untouchable.
No, absolutely. You ever heard me make reference to him and not call him champ?
No, it's true. He's the greatest. He's the. I've said that he's the greatest great. Like, I think he's better at boxing than like Einstein was at science.
It's extreme focus. Like, he chose that early. And a lot of times with the dads, when the dads make the best babysitters, they're living vicariously through the kids. Like they take the kid to the gym, they go to the gym, and they building their own champion. You know what I mean? And then that's why him and Floyd Sr. used to get into it, because they're so much alike.
Crawford's goal right now is clear: protect his throne. He's the top fighter of his era, having just dismantled Canelo and stunned the world, solidifying his status as the best of his generation. But a loss to a returning Mayweather could tarnish that aura, making this fight the ultimate high-risk, high-reward scenario, which is exactly why fans are so hyped. The truth is, Crawford doesn't need this fight. After his victory over Canelo, many suggested retirement, arguing his legacy was already complete.
Honest, when I set my sights on doing something and I know what I'm capable of, it's not like a surprise to me. It's a surprise to y'all because y'all didn't believe me, but for me, I knew I could do it and I believed that I could do it. I just needed the opportunity.
Terence, when did you know that you were going to beat him? Over here on your left.
When he signed the contract.
He seemed to focus mostly on body punches, and you were hitting him in the head a lot. Was it your reach that gave you the advantage?
It was everything. He wasn't hitting the body or anything. He was hitting my elbow because I was blocking it. But, I think I was.
Crawford has always aimed to prove he belongs among the all-time greats, and his victory over Canelo cemented his place in boxing history. At this point, he could retire and leave his legacy untarnished. If he chooses to return, it would have to be for something truly spectacular, like a multi-million-dollar showdown with Floyd Mayweather. Even then, what would it really add to his resume? Mayweather brings the fame and the money, but he's nearly 50. Even if Crawford wins, debates would rage on about who was truly superior.